City Council meeting for Monday, July 22nd. If you could all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the clerk could please call the roll.
Baldwin.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Muncy.
Here.
Stanton.
Here.
White. You have a quorum.
Okay. And as the last meeting, we did mention that Logan White would be gone from today. Could I have a motion to excuse Councilmember White?
Mayor make a motion to excuse Councilmember White.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Okay. So on to mayor's comments for tonight. It's just another busy week in our tourist town. It seems like we just got past the 4th of July week and now we are onto the week leading up to Venetian Festival. So hopefully everyone got their tickets to Star Farm Friday night. If you're participating in the dinghy poker run on Saturday, and of course the lighted boat parade and fireworks on Saturday. It's a really busy week in town because a lot of people love to be here for this week and plan their vacations around it. I wanted to mention there's an article in MLive. I don't know if you all have seen that the Wickwood Inn landed a nomination for Best Bed and Breakfast in the USA Today 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards. So it's another great recognition for the city of Saugatuck because other people on the list are like Napa, California, and Honolulu, Hawaii, and Little Saugatuck, Michigan. So that's pretty fancy that we got listed in that. Also, if you haven't seen the emails that have gone out, Saugatuck Township is hosting an open house tomorrow from 5:30 until 7 o'clock to talk about a number of the possible projects to include in its non-motorized master plan. If you have an interest in attending that, it should be great. I filled out the survey today. If you have an opportunity to look at that, it talks about bike paths, sidewalks, potential tunnels. I thought it was very interesting. So if you have an opportunity to either look for that survey or if you can attend the Saugatuck Township at the hall tomorrow between 5:30 and 7 to talk about that. That is open to the public. And then I'm also very excited for our city manager who will be filling the treasurer and planning and zoning administrator position soon, getting him some help along with Jamie and Sarah. I know they are looking forward to it. So now on to our city manager's comments.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple highlights from my report, but I think I'll touch on them when we do the other staff reports, if that's okay.
Okay, that sounds great.
Great.
All right, any agenda changes, additions, or deletions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to move the consent agenda item A, regular meeting minutes for July 8th, 2024 to new businesses. There's some changes that need to be made.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. If there's any discussion on it, we can talk about why there was just some agenda changes, or excuse me, the regular meeting minutes from that day. There's just some corrections we have to make. So is this a voice vote? All those in favor say yes.
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 Okay, opposed? Great. All right, we'll move on to guest speakers. Do we have any tonight? All right, none at this time. Then we'll move on to public comment on agenda items only. If anyone in the room would like to speak on agenda items only. Okay. If there's anyone online who'd like to speak on agenda items only. Okay, Chris, go ahead. Chris Peterson, if you can unmute yourself, state your name and where you live.
Am I there? Can you hear me?
Okay, it just needs to be a little bit louder. I don't know if you can turn it up, Chris, on your end.
Okay. Probably not without cutting myself out, just not that good. I'll just talk loud. Madam Mayor, City Council members, I'd like to talk on agenda item number 10, staff report, city manager, pages 49 to 50. The first being the one under the airport property. The
I
question
can't hear
would
her.
have
I'm
for
sorry.
discussion-
Hey, Chris, if I could just, maybe if you could work on the volume a little bit, we'll go to one other person and then come back to you if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we have someone else with their hand raised. Jamie, do you see another person with their hand raised? Oh, I thought I did. Okay. All right, Chris, we'll give it one more try and see if we can make it work. Can you change your audio setting on your computer, maybe? Technology is fun.
I'm not seeing how to do that, unfortunately. So you can't hear me, basically?
It's so faint, Chris, we can barely hear you, not enough to distinguish what you're saying.
You should have a volume button on your keyboard. It'll look like plus or minus. Look at your keyboard, look for something that looks like a speaker. And you should see like a speaker plus or speaker minus, Chris.
Does that help? Yeah, I'm not just seeing it on my keyboard. I'm gonna have to back out, and if you still have, agenda meetings, opportunities to talk, I'll talk later.
Okay, that sounds good, Chris. Thank you. All right, anyone else online? And anyone else, just one more time, anybody else in the room that wanted to speak? All right, then we will move on to our consent agenda on page 3.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to pass our consent agenda. I don't have to say all the consent items, do I?
No.
Our consent agenda as listed on our meeting for July 22nd, 2024.
All right, do I have a second?
Well, second.
All right, any discussion?
Just glad to have all these events. Art in the Park is an event that I started years ago with Anna Donahue. It has been gaining speed. I'm glad that she's continuing that. I'm looking forward to the Saugatuck Film Festival. I believe that's his 3rd or 4th year. Logan White, council member, will be putting that on. And of course, I can't believe it's already been a year again for the 12th Spear Street Block Party. Always a fun little thing for the locals here in town. So.
All right.
Madam Mayor, I do certainly defer to the city manager and the superintendent. I was looking at the Labor Day walk and my understanding is that we go back and forth on hosting this between Douglas and the city every year. When you look at what they require or what Douglas does, it's every DPW truck out, every police vehicle, whatever. I would trust that it seems to me like the organizer could do something more about having cars that block it off instead of having our DPW guys being paid double time on a holiday to do a 10-minute event and have to come in on an otherwise a paid holiday. So something to consider, and I'd be in favor of us looking at just additionally like what we are going to do for what events we take on, what events we don't, and what city resources we're willing to put toward it. I think it's something that's certainly worthy of a discussion. So I just wanted to put that out there. But again, defer to the city manager and to the superintendent to attend to that.
Okay. Anything else? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Wondering if I should abstain because I'm one of the organizers of the Beer Street Block Party.
You might want to consult with our lawyer on that.
I will abstain because I think it'll be unanimous. I will abstain.
Okay,
Muncy,
Yes.
Stanton.
yes.
Motion carries.
All right. All right, moving on to staff reports, boards, commissions, and committees, page 48, onto the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And as you, alluded to, we're happy to have some employment offers out to a couple of great folks to join our city team. One we'll talk about here later on your agenda, a candidate for city treasurer and finance officer. And then the other is a new director of planning and zoning who has signed their acceptance offer today. So I intend on tomorrow getting out some information to all of you as council members, and then we'll be working on issuing a press release with some more details on that candidate as well. This relates to the airport property. Just to highlight, one, we were, getting some various questions from folks about that property. So we took some of the documents that you're all well aware of, and we've shared in prior meeting packets and the work that was done previously, and put that all on the Parks and Public Works Committee section of the website. So that information is up and available for any folks that want to take a look at that. Meeting with ODC recently, they're beginning their work. So their legal folks are working on the conservation easement. As a reminder, that would cover just a portion of the property, primarily on the eastern portion of the property. details, all the language, everything will be coming eventually back to you to review and make an ultimate decision. Their surveyor is going to be doing some work on the boundaries and getting exact locations. 'Cause that'll be part of the conservation easement as well. That work should be done in 4 to 6 weeks. ODC is working on setting up meetings with township officials to firm up what's needed on the zoning side of things. They're planning on some trail work this fall. And then the final pieces with the parking lot, trailhead, possible, overlook being constructed in the spring. And then once all of that is done, working on the invasives and habitat restoration work on that property. So I just wanted to hit those highlights. And then as it relates to the old landfill, we haven't talked about that in a little while. There was a request from council to kind of talk about further due diligence to that site and possible cross-country trails. The township Parks and Rec boards come back with a 50-50 cost split proposal. So we have an initial engineering proposal to kind of get us started. So the township's working on a proposed agreement to get that work underway as well. So happy to answer any questions that you might have tonight.
Anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Holly.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, good evening, everybody. One question on there's quite a bit of discussion in your manager's report about telecommunications, the red line agreement with AT&T, the state with their process, the Wi-Fi. Two questions. One is, what was the date that we actually sent the red line agreement, that council approved the red line agreement? Do you remember? And if you don't have the answer, I would just appreciate a follow-up on the date that we actually approved that. I
Yeah.
just have a question.
I can get you the exact date. It was before my time as yeah, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. And to that point, the city needs to take a step back on some of these discussions and I think put together a very comprehensive telecommunications strategy. We have fiber optics, which have been run up to the school. A number of communities around us have begun to invest in their fiber optics, which is the maximum speed you can possibly get. And I've had enough conversations with business owners who have told me just this past week, a downtown business owner, restaurant owner that said that they're tired of the reservation system crashing in the middle of their busy times. That's going to happen even with a perfect system. However, I think it just, again, all the interest in the community that will improve our wireless coverage, Wi-Fi, broadband internet speeds. I really think the city needs to take a step back and put together a comprehensive strategy that we can then plan to get these things done. The last question I have is on Granicus. I appreciate the update in there. Just a report this weekend, I had a neighbor report that a couple of people approached their house, did not represent themselves as Granicus, but it said that they're doing a survey of short-term rentals. They didn't identify themselves to this person. It kind of upset the resident. They reported it to a neighbor across the street. The police were called. So anyway, the reason I mentioned that is because I just want to know, is Granicus doing any type, and I'm not saying this was Granicus because they didn't identify themselves, but it was kind of strange that was going on at the same time that we're starting to see some activity on enforcement.
I might be able to build on Councilman Gardner's comments. Yeah, I had a text from another resident that said, she received a text saying, hello, Dynata is conducting a short survey on issues important to residents of Saugatuck. A few minutes of your time to make a difference. And then there was a link, that she didn't click on because she thought it was some sort of fishing expedition. But I don't know if there is a firm that's doing some work that we're aware of. I told her I wasn't aware of anything that the city was doing.
Yeah, nothing from the city, and this is the first I've heard of it. Granicus isn't on a boots on the ground organization. It's more software related tools or external support. Eventually with the 1-800 number, we do have Cal Soleil with Horizon Planning that's begun some code enforcement activities, but nothing over the weekend. Yeah, nothing on the city's end on that. So I can follow up I have a meeting actually tomorrow with Captain Ensfield and Sergeant Haas. I can see what the outcome of that maybe them checking with those folks was. And
Yeah, I'd
go from
appreciate
there,
that.
yeah.
And I think it's important. And I told the citizen, I said, if the city was engaged with a company that was doing some type of work, they would be instructed to identify themselves, wear a badge, whatever they would need to do to identify themselves as representing something specific. And these people didn't do that. So,
Good
you
to
think
know.
of what it is.
Yeah,
But
we'll follow up and see if the sheriff's department was able to find anything out. On your telecommunications suggestion, I mean, the council, I'm not opposed to that. I can certainly see the value in certainly some long-term planning. It's, good topic for you guys to discuss if that's something that we should take up and put some time and staff resources into. It'll probably take some time to do that. I know I'm getting calls, I think at least probably once a week these days, if not a couple times a week, where folks are like wanting something done tomorrow to fix either cell issues or not wanting Wi-Fi downtown or at Oval Beach. And so, so we have some, potential solutions immediately in front of us that I think are at least worth exploring and giving us some good information. But, how that relates to an overall strategy, I defer to you as our policymakers to indicate how you'd like to approach that.
Thank you.
All right, Holly?
Yeah, I was going to say, similar to what Russ said or Councilman Gardner, with the AT&T project, I mean, it does, I mean, it's just, kind of stalled. And that I do think some contingency planning, since it's taking so long, would be wise, or just, I know my cell service just still
Mhm.
is abysmal.
Right.
Is a polite word for it. So.
Yeah, and I just want to stress, I don't think it's from a lack of effort on the part of AT&T.
Absolutely, got that, yeah.
They are working and have been working and have remained committed to the project. But obviously there's sensitivities to that with that site, and we also want to be respectful of that and kind of work through those particular issues.
So and I know I should know the answer to it, but I've forgotten. They're looking at the under the stairs and upper platform. Would that then replace the trying to get the stuff into the dome?
No.
No.
No, so that would take care, I think, of some of the concerns. But a portion of the ground disturbance relates to kind of a backup generator up there. So I think
Okay, that's
they
right.
still have that piece. So yeah, so there's other considerations there. Yep.
Thanks.
All right, anyone else? Okay, moving on to the treasurer's report. I don't think we would have anything unless you want to make mention of anything.
Yeah, only that, Plant Brand is up and running and assisting and supporting us, and that Jamie and Sarah continue to be very busy with accounts payable and payroll and taxes right now and all those good things. So very busy, and I know they're looking forward to the new treasurer being on board soon too.
Great. All right, moving on to the clerk's report. Jamie, anything you want to highlight?
Nope.
Okay. On to planning and zoning, Ryan.
Yeah, other than appreciate the highlight related to, or the discussion with or the comment about Granicus. I'm meeting with their project manager this week to kind of kick off the next phase, which is kind of getting the 1-800 number and everything put together and up and running. But otherwise, the system as it relates to address identification and helping identify properties that are renting without licenses or renting maybe while they've submitted an application but don't yet have that license and are renting before they should be. We've been able, our code enforcement has been able to utilize that as a tool and send out a number of notices and kind of start addressing those particular concerns. Code enforcement's also, I know, trash can issues and things like that seem to be a prevalent concern or complaint that comes in. They've come in and done some proactive enforcement on that with tagging those that have them out and sending reminder letters that, hey, just make sure that you have things in, after pickup day and that sort of thing. Following your decision to move forward the work on short-term rental caps. We did receive a number of media inquiries, so I talked with Fox 17 and Crane's Business to answer some questions that they had. Certainly, we've been getting a lot of public inquiries. I get constant calls and emails with short-term rental related questions, and so that's taken up a good chunk of my workload and in that regard. Otherwise, we're just kind of moving along as we get permit applications. So.
Go ahead, Gregory.
I was wondering, I had the fortunate experience of my car giving out on Culver Street, and I parked over where the duck was. So Dave Eiley took great care of me, and it's back on the road. But question, we had talked in the past about the 2-hour parking limit sign that was there, and then the 15-minute parking sign
place, which was across the street from Scooters. I remember that conversation with all of us on council about that at one point. Didn't we agree to remove those signs?
The 15-minute signs?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, you did.
okay, those are still there though.
All of them?
There's one in front of Scooters, and then the 2-hour parking where the duck used to park is still there.
Gotcha. I'll follow up with, the Department of Public Works and,
Yeah.
and check
Oh, you're
on
just
that for you.
wondering.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have noticed if my car didn't break down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
All
But
right.
if there was a 15-minute parking place, I'd love to have it in front of the drugstore.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's discussion that we're working on here about parking.
Okay, we'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, moving on to DPW. You'll see that report was submitted. It's on, let's see, page 53. Scott's not here, but if anybody has any questions, we can follow up with Scott at another time. But I do see on there that the permanent no parking signs will eventually be installed after Miss Dig locates any of the underground utilities that are there that would need to be avoided. But that should be going up soon.
Yeah, if they haven't started already, I know he was planning on starting this week, so.
Yeah, there's stakes in place and the guys were out doing some of that
Okay.
measurement work. So it looks like they're getting close.
All right. Did the sheriff's department submit a report? I didn't see anything. Okay. Engineers report. I don't know if John Moxie is on.
No.
Okay. All right. So moving on to boards, commissions, and committees, Fire District Administration Board, Dan.
Thank you very much. Try and be brief or reasonably so. Top line recap of our meeting on the 15th of July, not every item, but a number. Chief gave a guest award presentation to the management of XA Collision and Extreme Styling, same business. That did the design and wrapping work on the new to us transport capable ambulance at a substantial, and I mean major discount. They're not even located within the fire district's operating area, completely outside, but they have helped out before and consider themselves our friends, and obviously we do as well. There are statistics for June. Calls were up 18% to 120, which I think matched the prior month. July that's a high number to this point, and July is usually the highest of the months. So we have yet that to look forward to. We have gotten our first preliminary report from the Life EMS ambulance people on their activities over the course of June. We're still working with them on getting that, and they're happy to do this, customizing the report to suit the fire district's needs. But in general, during the month of June, there were 68 total requests and 43 transports, meaning they took somebody to the hospital. 12 canceled calls and 7 no transport, but treated at the scene. They give we're going to be able to get more detail on this, but they give the location of the service provided in the report, but we need to clean that for privacy concerns before that's released. But a rough count showed 17 of those calls within the city. I'm basing that on a map, not on detailed addresses. Give you an idea of the level of service. Also, you should know that I think, excuse me, a week or two ago, I don't know if you know, and I had explained this to somebody over drinks at outside Coral Gables the other night. The location, I was asked, where is the truck? Where is the ambulance? Where do they locate the ambulance? Generally speaking, the ambulances are not static. They're moving. They're placed geographically by EMS as the data dictates. Past data, present data, their computer system is phenomenal. I mean, it looks like something out of NASA if you see it. However, based on that and calls to date through June and what have you, they asked Greg, the fire chief, to locate one of their ambulances with its staff, 2 people on board, at the fire station during the hours of 2 PM to 7:30 PM, which is a bump area proximate to Saugatuck. And he was happy to agree to that. In fact, he talked, when he emailed back with them, he said has been part of his and prior fire district leadership's vision to have that fire station be a centralized public safety resource. And indeed, as we host the Coast Guard there, we host the county sheriff, and a whole bunch of them were here for SWAT training at the fire district. So it's nice to see that happening, and I saw the truck go by when I was chatting with this person. There is some question, there's some misunderstanding, I think, on response times. The response times for the ambulance will almost always be longer, sometimes twice as long, as the response times for the EMTs arriving from the fire district, who do not arrive in that ambulance, they arrive in our vehicles. The ambulance may or may not be called as a result of what our EMTs find on any given scene. Also, may be called anyway by 911 if the report to them indicates a need for that. So it's an involved system, but it isn't all sitting in one place. It's got between 2 and 7:30. But even there, that ambulance could be called to the south end of the township, could be called to the north end of the township. East side of the township might not physically be exactly in that spot at every one of those moments. So hope that helps. Chief reviewed a number of refunds, all $8,000 from various insurance pools and what have you. $4,400 refund from the insurance for an equipment installation. And he noted, for general interest, that the policy rate for the liability insurance for the fire district, liability only, not workers' comp, premium just was increased to $43,000 a year. That was up 7%. Our next fire board meeting is Monday, August 19th, 4 PM at the fire station. As always, you and everyone else listening to the sound of my voice is invited.
Thanks for the highlights, Dan. Does anybody have any questions? Okay,
Thanks, Dan.
all right, thank you. On to the Interurban Board, Gregory.
Last month was really busy for us. Throughout the month of June, we had a 22.41% increase in ridership compared to last year. Last June, we carried 6,970 passengers. And this June, we carried 8,532. Great increase. We've added another bus at our busy spots. So now there's times where we actually have 8 buses out. And so that's been able to keep our on-time performance and with having those extra buses on during peak time. We had some customer feedback, some riders feedback saying that they really liked having that parking shuttle that we have on the weekends. They'd like to see it go till 9 PM. So we've decided to go ahead and do that. We're working with the CVB who donates for that. And we are going to some way make that happen. So you can expect to see that soon. That shuttle on weekends will be available till 9 PM. Then also real quick, we changed our new mission. We changed our mission statement and would like to let you know that our mission is to provide safe, reliable, efficient, and affordable public transportation that connects our community, promotes sustainability, and enhances the quality of life for all people of Saugatuck, Douglas, and Saugatuck Township. There's a little bit of talk right now. I don't know if that could be within the year, maybe the next year, but there is talk with the municipality in Fenville. And so the idea that maybe we'll be implementing perhaps next year something going back and forth to Fenville as well, because there seems to be a need for that. So
Great.
Mhm.
Great. Any questions for Gregory?
Thanks.
Thanks, Gregory.
Mhm.
All right, Kalamazoo Lake Sewer and Water Authority. Barry, I see you out there.
Evening, council.
Hello, Barry.
Right, so make it as quick as I can here. So I had our meeting on July 15th. That's why you see me in the second monthly meeting for you guys. We had some generator startups, notably for us. Lift station number 1 down by the Peterson Pond and on Holland Street. If you drive by, you see a big generator there. That'll keep things moving. That was started up. We continue doing our lead and copper sampling. And out of 20 sites, we have 5 left, so that's going pretty good. All the city managers have requested a usage report, which we have generated through the BSNA software, and that's going to help you guys when you start doing the billings with your extra add-on for the infrastructure. I don't know if you got that, Ryan, or not. I'll hand it to you on my way out.
No,
Yeah. Are they still sending you the packets?
Yes.
Okay, it's in there.
It was in there? Okay.
This one's already printed. You can have it.
All right.
So that's good. Let's see. What else I got here? We are continuing to work with our proposal for construction standards. So as the communities are expanding and your engineers are creating projects, that we all are working off the same book as far as construction standards. And that'll certainly come back to you guys for your, Fleece and Vandenberg to take a look at it for the city. I'd like to thank and commend Ryan for working very closely with us. Your memorandum of understanding as we collect the funds that you guys are using for infrastructure. Really the one that Ryan provided ended up being a template for all communities. And he worked with us because there was some talk, some of the other communities wanted to get monthly payment on their thing. And as far as our short staff and everything, quarterly made a lot of difference. And Ryan included that in the memorandum of understanding, which we approved, signed, and you should have a copy of that. So thank you to Ryan. Let's see, the water operations agreement, we're going to see our 4th revision at our August 19th meeting. I think we're pretty close. So certainly everybody's welcome to come in and see us talk about that. And I think that's what I've got. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Barry?
Short and sweet.
All right, thank you so much. Did Harbor Authority meet?
No.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals,
They did not meet either. So.
Historic District Commission.
We meet a week from this Thursday at 6 p.m.
Okay, Planning Commission.
We met Thursday and took a look at a first draft of a zoning ordinance for the short-term rental. And we'll have a public hearing on August 15th, I think is the date, to go over the final draft or your final draft of that.
Okay, anybody have any questions? All right, moving on to Parks and Public Works, Helen.
Meet tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking that phone call and about the picnic tables and so that folks know that that is in the plan.
Benches.
The benches, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, not picnic tables.
Feel free to elaborate.
But but I appreciate reaching out about that because as we didn't recall it being at one of our meetings and it wasn't on the site plan and there was a little buzz about where can we put some park benches out there? So
It's in the plan, but we've just got to get through a few things first logistically to get them there.
Yeah, so talking about park benches at the new playground. So
Correct.
we don't have them there currently, but we're hoping to in the real
In the
soon.
near future, yes.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing that I just wanted to talk about, a lot of people have been talking about having more bike racks in town, and that's also in the works, Ryan.
Yeah, that is in the works. So a couple of things, working with an Eagle Scout that wants to bring some bike racks to Mount Baldhead. He's actually going to be presenting to the Parks and Public Works Committee tomorrow, and depending on their recommendation, will be before you as a city council at some point as well as part of his work. Actually, did Barry leave? Because
Yeah.
Barry brought him to us here, so it's helping him out. But and then the Convention and Visitors Bureau has also kind of recognized a need like we have for a need for more bike racks. And so they have some grant dollars available that they're evaluating using to kind of have some more artistic bike racks placed around town. So after Venetian, I think Lisa, Scott and I are going to get together and kind of take a look at some possible locations and kind of what they're narrowing their list of ideas down to, and then eventually Parks and Public Works Committee and to you as a city council to hopefully approve some more. So
Yeah.
There are some really neat artistic designs for bike racks. It would be neat to get some of those dollars so that we could maybe add to the artwork here in town as
Yeah.
well.
agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to Tri-Community Non-Motorized Trail Study Committee.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Page 48 of the manager's report has kind of the latest. The only thing I'll flag is just like, we've encountered over by Mount Baldhead, MDOT has advised that, basically the entire project area, is potentially sensitive from an archaeological and traditional cultural property standpoint. So the archaeological survey will probably add another 60 days in terms of reviews, and that's going to push bidding back later this fall. However, C2AE remains confident that construction will still occur next year, but there's more detail in the manager's report on page 48.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions on that? All right, moving on to request for payment, none. We are at item number 12, approval of accounts payable. It's on page 57.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make the motion to pay accounts payable in the amount of $97,398.02.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just more of a, with our new treasurer presumably coming online, I'd like to ask that we begin seeing the bills at our workshop so we can have open discussion about questions, because I typically will find something there, and I don't want to bog the meeting down with questions, but I'd like to ask that we make that a commitment for the new treasurer to have the bills for review, or at least discussion at the meeting on Wednesday before the council.
It's a little tough because we don't pay all the bills by that Wednesday. I was paying bills until Friday at 6 PM trying to get the council packet out. So a portion of them would be available on that Wednesday, but just note that between that Wednesday and when the packet goes out Thursday, we're still paying bills because we're going to the mailbox and we're still getting emails with bills and such. May not be all of them, but probably like 85% of them.
Okay,
90%.
let's talk offline about how to maybe get that in front of council sooner. I just think it would be important for us to see those in a workshop.
Okay.
Where
Any
possible.
other-
Just, are you asking about this report? Is that what you're asking?
No, about the actual payable list itself.
I'm not understanding, I guess, what would,
I'd like to see the list that we're seeing tonight for approval at the workshop.
okay, so this report, this
yeah,
list
yes,
is what
yes.
you're looking to say. Okay.
And Jamie's just saying it would probably be 85% complete by the workshop.
Understood.
Okay. Okay. And maybe Jamie can, elaborate that and explain a little bit more to you offline. All right.
Yeah, and I would, I would certainly defer to when the new treasurer comes online to be able to talk about that just I put that out there as an idea and a suggestion for him.
Okay. All right. Moving on to introduction of
Got
ordinances.
to the roll call vote.
Oh, I am sorry. Moving on to the roll call. Thank you, Jamie.
Anderson,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. No introduction of ordinances, we do have unfinished business. Go ahead with the regular meeting minutes.
Do you want to put that in new business or unfinished business? Is it unfinished?
It was new business. Okay, so no unfinished business. So moving on to item 15A, which would be the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting minutes from July 8th.
Okay, so I can go ahead and make a motion on this? Okay. Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make the motion to make the following changes to the minutes. On page 4, public comment resident Mark Lachey should show support of short-term rental caps. On page 7, motion to table, add in Councilmember Anderson's vote of no. Next motion include Anderson as second. Roll call vote should be 4-2. Clerk did not include Mayor Stanton vote of yes. Staff wage vote should include Councilmember Dean as a no.
Do I have a sec?
There's one.
Oh, there's
more.
one more?
And one more is that Councilmember Dean should be reflected as present in the meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
so let me start over again, okay?
okay.
Councilmember Dean should be reflected as, okay. I'm writing it down just so you can have it as present. Okay, let's start over again.
All right.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for the following changes to the minutes. Councilmember Dean reflected as present. On page 4, public comment, resident Mark Lachey should show support of short-term rental cap. On page 7, motion to table, add in Councilmember Anderson's vote of no. Next motion, include Anderson as a second. Roll call vote should be 4-2. Clerk did not include Mayor Stanton, vote of yes. Staff wage vote should include Councilmember Dean as a no.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion?
The one on page 7, trying to follow along as you were reading the motion. The one on page 7 regarding the motion to table.
Yes.
Can we understand that one?
So that one, that was a motion by Gardner, second by Muncy to reject planning commission for short-term rental caps.
Right.
The motion failed 4-2,
Got it. So you're adding
right?
Stanton
They
into
were
the
just
notes.
missing one more vote. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Just
All right.
that went by fast, so
I know.
Yeah.
track it.
There was a few things. All right. Everybody understand? All right, then it's a roll call or it's a voice vote. All right, all those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to next item for new business, hardscaping installation request for Wicks Park Bar and Grill. This is on page 60 of your packet. Ryan?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this was an item that we had at your workshop meeting, and a request from Wicks Park Bar and Grill to install pavers between the sidewalk and the street so that they could place outdoor dining on it. As we discussed at your workshop meeting, the engineer and Department of Public Works superintendent has reviewed and offered some conditions of approval. The applicant has revised their site plan to incorporate those comments. And we have a sample motion before you that incorporates them as well.
All right, that sample motion is on page 62. Do I have a motion?
Can I ask a question that relates to the motion
Mhm.
before? So, when the planning commission approved the outdoor dining, I don't know if this goes here or later, but, for Wicks Park,
Mhm.
the owner graciously agreed to, and part of the motion there was to, make accommodations for people to open car doors in the handicap spaces. Would that be number 5 or number 6 in this motion, or does it go? I know we talk about that later on. And I just want to be sure that we capture that.
I would think it would be in the right-of-way seating request.
I think I think if you look at
So
that on
this is
page
hard
88,
Okay.
I wanted to be sure before. Okay.
I
cool.
think so.
Yep.
That's a good question, though.
I looked
Yeah.
at that on 88, and I'm sure that it incled something about the.
It does. I
handicap
just
spot. It
wanted
does?
to be
Okay.
sure we
Okay.
covered it all the
Okay.
places we
Okay.
needed to. All right.
You want me to take a cut at reading it?
Either way.
Okay.
Yep, Gregory was right there.
Oh, you
too.
want, you go for it. Go for
Go
it.
ahead. You know, I like to talk. I'd like to make the motion to approve the request for Wicks Park Bar and Grill to install pavers between the sidewalk and curb along Mary Street, subject to the following conditions. 1, pavers shall meet engineer and Department of Public Works requirements and specifications. 2, the property owner understands and acknowledges that the issuance of this permit does not convey a property right. 3, the property owner shall be responsible for and shall bear all costs of maintaining the pavers. The property owner shall not expand, modify, or extend the pavers in any manner. No other improvements may be placed within the Mary right-of-way except as expressly permitted by the city code. Number 4, if the city determines in its sole discretion that removal of the pavers is necessary or convenient to accommodate improvements to Mary right-of-way or otherwise in the public interest, city shall notify the property owner, and the property owner shall remove the pavers at their sole expense no later than 30 days after receiving such notice. Once the pavers are removed, they shall not be reinstalled, and the property owner shall restore the right-of-way to substantially the same condition it was in prior to the installation of the pavers. If the property owner fails to timely remove the pavers to the installation of the pavers, I'm sorry, if the property owner fails to timely remove the pavers, the city may do so at the property owner's expense. The city may remove all or a portion of the pavers at the expense of the property owner and without prior notice to the property owner if such removal is necessary to accommodate emergency work within the Mary right of way.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, any discussion? All right, this is a roll call vote. Oh, no, it's a voice vote. So all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on now to the right-of-way seating request along Mary Street from Wicks Park Bar and Grill. This is on page 88 of the packet. Ryan.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, so, sorry, just getting to that page
Yeah.
myself here. A lot of photos to go through, so. So, if you, well, several months ago, back in February, the planning commission approved, via special land use and a site plan approval, that, Wicks Park Bar and Grill could have expanded outdoor dining. That included some dining on the sidewalk, some dining between the public sidewalk and the street, so in the right of way, and then some dining in the street. So as you recall, you had previously approved a revocable license agreement to place the seating in the streets and on the sidewalk directly in front of the business along Water Street. So this portion of it relates strictly to the tables that they're requesting along Mary Street, which on the site plans that they submitted to the planning commission involved 3 picnic tables. Planning commission approved the request with a number of conditions. I know you've received, well, one of them was that it needed to be on a, comply with, the zoning requirements. And that they need to install pavers. And so that's occurred at this point with your approval, will occur with your approval that you just issued. One of the other pieces that's come up is whether or not the seating there will allow for adequate, doors to open adequately if folks are trying to get out of cars. And so this was something that came up last summer that was raised as a concern. I believe the property owner took the picnic tables and did move them over so that it was better or easier to get out of cars. Their site plan shows that they have to maintain 5 foot of sidewalk access between their building and the tables, but then they're showing on the plans that there's going to be space. So from a city perspective, you have a revocable license agreement that would allow the seating and essentially says that you have to follow all of your approvals and our ordinance requirements. So the public comment that we received was related to concerns that there may be an issue. There's not tables there currently. There's a site plan that has to be complied with and our ordinance that has to be complied with. And so, certainly it's wise to remind the property owner that they need to make sure and place tables of such a size that are going to allow for doors to adequately open for cars that are parking along Mary Street. And if that becomes an issue that, the revocable license agreement could be revoked, or the special land use could be revoked as well, which is actually written into the ordinance that way. I mean, so if there's issues, we will address those issues if they arise, but there's not an issue today, I guess is my point.
Okay. All right, the motion is on page 89.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the revocable license agreement for temporary restaurant seating in the public right of way along Mary Street for Wicks Bar and Grill.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I do want to appreciate that this has been kind of a protracted process for the business owner and fairly complicated situation. We did receive an email on Friday from a member of our zoning board of appeals with some questions regarding compliance with the zoning ordinance. And I believe you replied today with your thoughts. So I'm just trying to understand, making sure that there isn't an issue of non-compliance with our zoning ordinance with this motion.
Correct.
Because there appears
For the
to be a
reasons I
difference of
just,
opinion. Yeah, there appears to be a difference of opinion on this.
well, correct for the reasons I just stated, and I defer to our legal counsel if there's a different thought. I mean, essentially, we have a plan that has to be complied with, but as it stands today, there's not anything there.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that the concern at issue is addressed in the conditions of approval from the planning commission. And that there's not
currently any violations of those conditions on site. So if that is something that arises in the future, city staff will handle it accordingly.
Okay. Anything else?
So, and just to summarize, Mr. Buck's on the line, Christine, the applicant's here. So it sounds like if we move forward with this motion, if there becomes an issue with somebody not being able to access the handicap spaces appropriately in the way they were designed, we can take fairly quick action to work with the applicant to correct that problem.
Yes.
Do I generally
Yes.
understand that? Okay,
Yeah, that'd be correct.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, one last question under the ordinance, which was shared with us under item 4A. Tables must be removed from the public right of way when restaurant is not open. Was that waived or was that, I don't recall seeing that condition, so I was kind of curious. Do you know which one I'm reading? In section 154.092, letter
I
O.
believe that relates to
4A.
sidewalk, like if somebody has a sidewalk installation.
Okay,
Pull over. Gotta pull it up in a separate section here because it's not codified yet, so.
I just bring that up because there's quite a bit of non-compliance if that's the true ordinance that has to be complied with.
Can you give that section number again?
Yeah, it's 154.092, letter O, 4A. Tables must be removed from the public right of way when restaurant is not open.
Is that from the? Is that?
154.080 through 154.092, so it's within that section.
Yes, that sounds like it's from the prior ordinance.
Yeah, I think that's from the previous version of the ordinance. I don't think.
So that's not, that's.
Yeah, I don't think that's been updated on.
Okay,
The American legal
Go ahead, Jamie.
site
Yeah,
yet.
it's updated once a year.
Yeah.
When I submit the ordinance to publishing, they keep it till the end of the year and then they update it. So once an ordinance is adopted, it's not updated automatically.
okay, so that particular item is not,
Possibly be old.
You said
Okay.
4A, yeah.
yeah, I'm just reading its standards in section 154.080 through 154.092. And again, I'm not bringing this, I bring this up because it caught my attention, because if that's truly the ordinance and that's truly a requirement, then we have a lot of non-compliance with.
So that probably dropped out then when we.
Yeah,
When we formalized the
Okay.
outdoor dining.
Yeah, I believe, and I think this is just one of the
Yeah.
drafts of the revised regulations that I'm looking at, but it says that the tables need to be removed. That was between I think November and March.
That's why I remember.
Like,
So yeah,
Okay.
that's
April to
since been
October, yeah.
updated.
Right.
That's not effective anymore.
okay, all right. Any other questions then in regards to that?
I'm glad we clarified all that.
Okay. All right, and it is a voice vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to new business monitoring well installation request at 650 Water Street, page 95. Ryan.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have Kayla Rooney here this evening from Fishbeck on behalf of the property owners at 650 Water Street. There's a historical gasoline release that occurred when it was Gleason Marina several years ago, and there was some groundwater contamination that Eagles required monitoring for and wanting to bring that site to closure. So if it's all right, Madam Mayor, maybe I turn it over to Kayla just to kind of give you a brief summary of kind of the work that they're proposing. And then I can kind of touch on the agreement.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Kayla. If you want to just unmute yourself. Thank
Hi,
you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for inviting me to answer any questions you might have. Yeah, I can provide a brief summary. Essentially, we were retained by the property owner earlier this year to conduct initial sampling and just kind of verify current site conditions associated with the gasoline release. We conducted initial sampling in April of this year and determined that we have lateral delineation of groundwater contamination at the site. However, we do not have the appropriate vertical delineation the Eagle requires to gain site closure. Specifically, we have 2 deeper monitoring wells that are located on the it'd be the west side of Water Street within the right of way that exceed state criteria for drinking water. And so we are proposing to install 2 deep monitoring wells on the east side of the Water Street right of way, sorry, to attempt to vertically delineate that plume. There are 2 existing monitoring wells. They're labeled as MW3 and MW9. Those are shallow monitoring wells. They're screened roughly between about 3 to 8 feet below surface. Those were existing wells that were sampled by or that were installed by a previous consultant. And so we are proposing to install 2 additional deeper wells that would be screened approximately 8 to 13 feet below surface to attempt to try and vertically delineate that contaminant plume.
All right, Kayla, thank you.
Of course.
Does anybody have any questions of Kayla while she's right here?
Yeah, quick question. Thank you for being here this evening. So make sure I understand this correctly. So 650 Water Street is now Saga Taco's address, right? That's the street address there. It says on the memo description in front of Ida Red's cottage. So it's actually going to be on the east side where the monitoring wells are going to be installed, but it's for the benefit of 650.
Correct.
Correct, yes.
The city right away.
And has Ida Red's been notified that this is potentially under consideration?
They have not, but if that's something that we need to address, we'd be more than happy to reach out to them.
I think that's just common courtesy to,
Okay, of course.
thank you.
All right, the motion is on page 96.
One other quick question. So
Sure.
the start and end dates listed for July 8th, which is passed, does that need to change?
Yeah, I know some of it was kind of dependent on this timeline and getting things approved, and then they were working on the removal bond as well. But Kayla, when do you think the work might happen?
Well, I reached out to our subcontractor, that's Rosendahl Well Drilling. They're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. They tentatively have availability next week. However, you know, if that seems a little too soon, that's perfectly fine. We're pretty flexible with installing these wells, so.
And do you think you'll have, you know, equipment in any of the parking spots out in front of Ida Red's, taking up space at any time? I know, you know, obviously they're a very busy restaurant, so.
Yeah, so the preliminary planning stage was to have any trailers or larger trucks parked at the former Gleason Marina property, kind of in between that alleyway near the docks. We would need to basically create a workspace. I would say approximately 2 to 3 parking spots per monitoring well location. We wouldn't be doing the work installing both wells at the same time. It would be kind of, you know, one well, block off a few parking spots, and then move to the next well and block off any necessary parking spaces. But I just from being on site, I estimated I'd say 2 to 3 parking spots would create a safe work zone.
And how many days, Kayla, do you think it'll take to get this work done?
It would actually take only half a day to
That's
install
wonderful.
both wells. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Anything else?
Yeah, one other question in regards to the description of work project installation, as last sentence, as required by Eagle to pursue closure of the site. Can you help me understand that?
Yeah, so this site is regulated under the leaking underground storage tank program. It's or LUST.
Better
It's
known as
also-
Dust. Yep.
Yeah, it's also known as a Part 213 program. So there are necessary guidance, or there's necessary guidance that Eagle provides in order to get to a point where you can pursue site closure. And that's essentially that you've eliminated any exposure risks. That's human and ecological exposure risks. So things like, is there an unforeseen exposure to drinking water or vapor intrusion? Is there a potential surface water exposure that might create an issue? In this case, obviously, the city of Saugatuck uses municipal water. We're evaluating vapor intrusion on site. There are no issues that we foresee with vapor intrusion off site. But primarily the reason for these wells is to delineate that groundwater plume and essentially determine that there's no additional institutional controls that may need to be implemented off-site to prevent any issues associated with construction within the right-of-way, or if someone were to install a well on a private property, you can't use that as a drinking water source. So we're really just kind of trying to delineate the extent of this plume and then make decisions beyond that to reach site closure.
Thank you. Do we know if the underground storage tanks are gone? Have they been removed or?
One of them was removed. There were 2 tanks on site. One of them was removed. The other one was closed in place. It was essentially just emptied out of any liquid materials, and then they backfilled with either concrete or sand. I'm not really sure which. But likely it wasn't removed due to utility locations. It wasn't safe to remove it. So one's gone, the other's still in place.
Thank you. Last question is, what precipitated this action? Is this just on a list of things that the state needs to close? Was it at the request of a property owner?
This was at the request of a property owner. So the property owner acquired the property early this year. And they took on the environmental liability, unbeknownst to them. So essentially they are wanting to meet their obligations under the Part 213 program to meet compliance associated with this release. So.
Thank you.
All right, Kayla, thank you.
Of course.
All right, we do have that motion, if anybody would like to make a motion. Page
Madam Mayor?
96, go ahead.
Motion to approve the revocable license agreement regarding monitoring wells in the Water Street right-of-way.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, this is also a voice vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to new business, approval of city manager's appointment for treasurer/finance officer on page 106. Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Some good news this evening to bring to you. We started our search for a new city treasurer and finance officer a little over a month ago now. We cast a bit of a wide net in the municipal circles. We did a posting on the Michigan Municipal League website, the Michigan Government Finance Officers Association website. Certainly did some social media posts and had this information on our city website as well. We received a really strong pool of 7 applicants for this position, including one from out of state, a variety of backgrounds and experience. We invited 5 applicants to interview and with an initial panel that involved myself, our city clerk, Mayor Pro Tem Baldwin, and Councilmember Gardner. From there, the panel provided some feedback and the list was narrowed to 2 finalists. And I invited those 2 finalists to kind of do like a formal meet and greet with our Department of Public Works Superintendent, City Clerk, and Deputy Clerk to kind of get to know each other a little bit and ask some questions and tour City Hall. And then I sat down with the the applicants as well for some additional questions. And based on that panel feedback and staff feedback, some reference checks, and my evaluation of the candidates, I extended a conditional offer of employment to Nicole Bredeweg. And she has accepted that conditional offer, which is contingent upon you approving as a city council, which is required by the city charter. And then it's also conditioned upon successful completion of a background check. So it's a little bit about Nicole, and I have a press release drafted as well. But essentially, Nicole brings over 31 years of accounting, experience, or would bring 31 years of accounting experience to the city of Saugatuck. She's worked in a variety of roles, nonprofits, private business, and then currently she's in a public sector role in Holland Charter Township as their one of their accountants who primarily handles their payroll-related duties. She's familiar to Saugatuck. She worked for a private business here in Saugatuck and doing their accounting work for several years. She kind of sent me a blurb to share with you, and we'll share it in the press release as well if you approve, is that she's indicated that she's very excited to be on the City of Saugatuck team, that she loves the vibe of the town, the beauty, the people, the culture, that she looks forward to working in a historic building and especially meeting the people that make up the unique and amazing community here. So I'm hopeful that you will support my recommendation for appointment.
All right, the
Madam
motion is
Mayor?
on 107, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the city manager's appointment of Nicole Bredeweg to the city treasurer finance officer position, conditioned upon satisfactory completion of the background check.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
I just.
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Chris.
No, please.
I just want to say that I had the privilege to interview Nicole. I found her eminently qualified. Very happy that we're able to fill this position. I think that you guys are all going to really be happy with Ryan's choice, and looking forward to her onboarding soon. Okay.
Yeah, I would just add that it was a pleasure being involved with the panel. I got to learn a little bit more about the folks that I serve with here at the city, and as well as meet the candidates. We had a number of highly qualified candidates, and there were 2 of the 7 that we thought were a really good fit, and I fully support Nicole's hiring.
Okay, Holly, did you have something? No, anyone else? All right,
Congrats.
and this is a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to wage scale and paid holiday adjustments. This is on page 112 of your packet. And again, this is Ryan.
All right, Madam Mayor, as you recall from last Wednesday, we had quite a bit of discussion with a wage consultant around the recommendations for updates to the city's wage scale for each of our positions. And then also we had some discussion about adding additional paid holidays to be more competitive with our neighboring communities, as well as Allegan County and the number that they offer.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the updated step and wage scales for city staff, authorize cost of living adjustments to the scale each January based on inflation, and add the following paid holidays: Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the 3rd Monday of January, Indigenous Peoples' Day, the 2nd Monday in October, and Veterans Day on November 11th.
Second.
Okay, second by Muncy. Okay, and any discussion?
Yeah, I would just add, Mayor, that we had a chance to meet with the consultant, Chad, right?
Yeah.
Chad,
Jeff.
yeah, thanks for the help. And I have to say, this is a well-done survey. His company does this all over the state. As a matter of fact, they subcontract with the Michigan Municipal League to do this work. And this has been on the books of the city for about 3 years. So I'm very pleased that we got this done for our employees. This is one of the other legs in the table, so to speak, of recruiting and retaining quality employees for the city of Saugatuck. And I'm just really pleased that we got this work done, and there's a lot here that will benefit us going forward and current staff, and just pleased by this.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, for your hard work on all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd also like to thank Ryan for the hard work as well and taking the time for us to go through it. We had quite a big meeting when this came onto the agenda. So I'm glad that we took the time to work on this and talk to our expert at our workshop. I appreciate that.
Great.
If I could, Mayor, just thank you as a council. I think, I have heard it loud and clear that you very much support staff and want us to, be very competitive with wages and benefits and workplace culture. And even talking with some of the candidates that we talked with and interviewed with, and their experiences in other communities and some of the things that I was hearing from some of them that they experienced from their elected officials. Grateful for your support of our staff team. It does mean a lot. So.
Great. All right, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner.
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. All right, now on to public comment on anything you'd like to speak on tonight. If anyone in the audience wishes to come up to the podium and go ahead and speak. Just introduce yourself and where you're from.
My name is Mike Villar. I'm from Allegan, and I am running for prosecuting attorney of the County of Allegan. I ran 4 years ago. I lost by 17 votes out of 18,000. I hope not to repeat that. I hope this year is going to be a successful run. My dad was an immigrant from Cuba. He came in 1956. His goal when he came to the United States was to learn how to speak, read, and write in English so that he could take the American citizenship test in English. And in 1964, when I was 4 years old, he did that. And he was really proud to be an American. He loved our system. He couldn't believe that we could actually vote for who leads us. He was under he got out before Castro came, so he was under Batista, who was a brutal dictator. And so when he came to the United States, he taught me that to really love our country. I remember as a fourth grader sitting up until 2 a.m, because back then they didn't call elections at 9 o'clock at night. They did all night. So we would wait up until 2 and 3 a.m. just so that we could see who was going to become the president. Unlike a lot of families now, when I spoke Spanish, my dad would spank me because he said, "You're going to be an American. You are going to be an American." He had a third grade Cuban education. He told me that I was going to be an American and I was going to get an education that he was deprived of. And I did that. I raised 4 kids in Allegan County. I was an ASO baseball coach, or ASO soccer coach, a Little League baseball coach, AAU girls soccer coach. In Allegan, I have commercial buildings that I run, in addition to my law practice, which I've had since 1993. I was a law clerk for Judge Garcilia, graduated from Michigan Law School. The reason I'm running, this is going to be a pay cut for me, but the reason I'm running is because I love my community. I have seen as an insider what's been happening in the Allegan County Prosecutor's Department, and it is staggering incompetence. In the last 6 years, my opponent started with 8 assistant prosecutors. In the last 6 years, we've lost 19. All 8 of them that were there when she started have quit, and the people that replaced them have quit, and now we're up to 19. In addition, during that time, the budget has gone from 1.2 million to 2.1 million. So there's been a staggering increase in the budget, and there's been a staggering decrease in how many people stay. And right now, they have all kinds of new people, that younger prosecutors who are literally getting their butts handed to them when it comes to trials. In district court trials, we've won 2. The Allegan County's won 2 district court trials, which are the misdemeanor trials this year. And they have 2 to 3 a week. And in circuit court trials, they're only winning 1 out of every 2. And I think I can bring my experience as a coach and someone who taught as a people person to train these young prosecutors that we have, and potentially bring some of the old prosecutors back into the fold. And I think that my experience as a business owner can help bring fiscal responsibility back to the Allegan County Prosecutor's Office. So we're both Republicans. There's no Democrat on the ticket. So it's August 6th is the primary. And so whoever wins that would be the next Allegan County Prosecutor. So I'd appreciate your vote and I appreciate your time. Does anyone have any questions for me?
We can't take any questions at this time, but thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
That's music's for me.
I know. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Mike Buck. For the next 5 months, I'll be your probate judge. Unlike the office of President of the United States, there is an age limit.
You just have to stand in front of the microphone so people at
I'm
home.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a sitting judge usually. In Michigan, a judge, once you turn 70, you can finish whatever term you're in, but you can't run again. I turned 73 in December, so I'm toast as of December 31st. I'm gonna talk a little bit about being a judge and how great it was, a little bit about my successor, who is Jolene Clearwater, who couldn't be here tonight. She's got very ill family. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Alice Burnell, who is running for the open seat, the new seat in Circuit Court. When I first became an assistant prosecutor, 47 years ago, I've been, was first really overwhelmed by how negative life was. You look at things, you come into the office, you read about bad things, evil things, bad people. You get a real jaundiced view of what life is like. Early on, I realized that I was going to have to find a way to cope with that or get really depressed. And what I did was I learned that on the way home, I'd feel, wow, my life is so good. I am so lucky. I'm so blessed with how good things are. Now, after 45 years, again, the Allegan County Courthouse, 21 as a prosecutor, assistant prosecutor, and then 24 as a judge. Moving the transition to a judgeship, I found new ways to celebrate. I worked a lot with kids as a probate and family court judge. I would celebrate when a kid would get his GED or get a job, just little things. I especially learned to celebrate adoptions. And for lack, I don't want to waste a lot of time here, but I got real silly and I apologize to people because I would show them, I said, when you see a judge on TV, you know, that gavel is really much bigger and heavier than you think. And some days my arm is a little Thor. So, but I won't go through the other gavels. Jolene Clearwater, my successor, is amazing. She's already teaching judges through the state of Michigan. The Supreme Court has recognized her. And again, she's worked for me for 14 years. She's going to be wonderful. And believe it or not, she's even better looking than I am. But I will talk a minute here about Alice Burnell. I got involved with her a couple of years ago as far as she told me she's interested in becoming a judge. And I was really amazed at her judicial temperament. And that's one of the most important things you need, because you aren't the advocate, you're one that's reviewing things and seeing things. And one of the biggest things that happened was she handled an estate where there was a murder. A man killed his kids, killed his wife, and killed himself. And handling that estate as a certified mediator, a fiduciary, she was amazing. I always thought I had a good judicial temperament, but she far outshines me. She's an amazing lady. Please consider voting for her. Two go on to the final. We won't hear real soon in August, but it's ABC, Alice Burnell for Circuit Court. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel like we're speed dating here tonight. Thank you for having me in your beautiful city on this gorgeous night. I appreciate it, the warm welcome. My name is Alice Burnell. I'm running for the circuit court position. And what I want you to know about that is that there are 3 people vying for this position. And so there is a primary on August 6th where the vote will take it down to 2. I'm a bit different than my 2 opponents. Both my opponents are assistant prosecuting attorneys, and I am a family law attorney. So my opponents are skilled at what they do, and I'm not here to say any differently, but I bring a different perspective to the bench. If I am to be elected, what I hope to do is to round out the bench. We currently have 2 judges who are very experienced in criminal law. But I would be the only one that is my focus, my experience, and my passion. And the circuit court, over 50% of the cases are family law now. So the other less than 50% are the criminal cases and the civil cases. Somebody backs into someone's fence or whatever. So I hope to fill that position so that we have that representation on the bench. Personally, I am from Dorr, Michigan, and I am the Dorr Business Association president there. My husband's on the Parks Commission. We both serve at our church. I believe that it's very important that people get involved in their community, as I'm sure people have gotten involved in your community because it's gorgeous. And that's the thing, is that if everybody does get involved and volunteer, we make the surrounding area around us better. And I hope to do that and extend that throughout Allegan County. As Judge Buck alluded to, I do have experience working in the area of fiduciary roles and with mediation. I am a certified family law mediator. And in my practice, what I have found is that what I am most proud of is that when I have a couple come to me for a divorce, one party or the other, one of the things that I work on them with is, do they really need a divorce? I mean, that is my first
solution to the problem is, can they reconcile? And that's something that has happened successfully in my practice, and I'm very proud of that. But the second thing then is, if it is a situation where there is no other possibility and that's what they want, then working together to be reasonable and to realize that their children have the right to have decent parents that are caring about them, and putting that in front of their own personal needs. And so I work strongly with my clients to do that. When a client comes in, whether it's family law, whether it's criminal, whether it's civil, whatever it is they're in front of you for, it's more than a case number. And I work with these families that are coming in for these different situations, and I see that it's not a case number. These are individuals. And so what I hope to bring to the bench is that compassion for each situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know. I don't know.
I like it.
Hello, Christine Murphy Pierce, 449 Water Street, owner Wicks Park, and 121 Mary Street, owner of the cottage. I appreciate the votes of yes today. I know it's been a process, and I apologize for that. Secondly, it was a I'm still very fearful of putting pavers down or doing any work over there. I will say that right now. I don't know when I'm going to do it, just because I still feel like I've asked several times to have meetings with the Public Works. I've asked several times to have meetings with the engineer so that me, as the owner, is clear on what I'm supposed to put down. I know that it's written in a thing. I know it's saying like this, and I know it's your land and it's hardscape. You walk around town, nothing is uniformed, which we've already discussed and all of that stuff. And I know everyone's had a lot of work on their plate with different people leaving and all of that. At the last meeting, I felt super disrespectful. I've had a business here for 16 years. I'm always here. I'm always trying to help. I love this community. I want nothing more to keep having more businesses come down on my side of the street and down by Retro and down by the Barge and the Grilled Cheese Shack. I mean, when I first opened, no one ever even walked that far down there. The hardscape was never even taken care of down there. So at the last meeting, I definitely felt very disrespectful between the rock being dropped on the desk and the comment about my social media. Now I'm a business owner that is fearful of doing things. I used to totally enjoy coming to the city hall and talking to people and being like, hey, what if I do this? Hey, what if I do that? Hey, let's do this. And now I feel like we're all hidden and we can't have a reasonable, normal conversation about anything. Instead, I felt like now I'm fearful. I'm fearful that it doesn't matter what I do in that spot, it's not going to be done exactly correctly down to the morsel of the rock that has to be put down. So I do feel very targeted now on that corner. And as a business owner, that's not the way I want to feel. I want to feel that I want to do events. I want to do things in the fall. I want to do all the things that I love to do here for 16 years. And now I'm scared. And I didn't have to keep fighting for this. I could have just, thrown up my hands and been like, whatever, okay. But that's not the way I was brought up. That's not the way I was taught. This is a democracy. We can speak up and say whatever we want. I just felt very disrespectful at the last meeting for being a business owner for 16 years in here. So, but I do appreciate the vote for yes. I hope, Ryan, we can work together to figure out exactly how everybody wants these pavers to look so that I do it correctly and there won't be any more issues going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Anybody else in the room wish to speak? All right, anyone online with your hand raised? Jamie, do you see anyone?
I do.
Okay. You'll see correspondence in the packet on page 115. So now on to council comments. Holly, would you like to start?
Yeah, congratulations on the treasurer hire. That's great news. And sending good thoughts to our clerk and deputy clerk as we gear up for early voting, which starts this weekend. So,
yeah. All right, Russ?
Yeah, I would just thank Judge Buck for being here this evening. Unfortunately, I've never had to be in your courtroom, but I've heard a lot of good things about your handling of family situations and so forth over the years, and your service to the community has been recognized by a number of people. Thank you for your service. And you do not look the age to have to retire. So yeah, you don't need to, but anyway, congratulations. I hope it worked. I hope the best for you. Thank you.
No, just really want to reiterate, congratulations on hiring the treasurer. I'm sure no one's happier than Jamie and Sarah and Ryan, and especially as they're getting ready for early voting. I'm gonna participate and I work as an elections and worker on Monday and Tuesday. Come and see me.
All right, great. Scott?
Nothing.
All right. Gregory?
Yeah, I want to thank, Mike Villar coming out, Alice Burnell, and of course, I'm sorry, Mr. Buck. I appreciate you coming out. I felt like that was almost like a, we were pulling things out of the bag. I thought that was, the comedian that does that, with the red hair. I can't think of his name. Yes, that was great. I can imagine you were really, good, in your cases. I've never met you before, but I can imagine you look like you really worked well with families. So, but I did want to remind everybody, we've got lots of events coming up, like I always do. Music in the Park, I'll be blowing bubbles with Rock Shop from 7 to 9 PM there. And then I'll also be checking everybody's bags when they come in to the Venetian Festival. So you better not bring anything that's not allowed.
What are you gonna confiscate
And
it?
so I'm looking forward to Venetian Festival. A big thank you, and a shout out to the Rotary Club, which was on our show and talked about the event. And also happy to report that we've got at least so far 5 or 6, maybe more boats that'll be participating this year. So we are having a boat parade again this year. So we're excited that the Star of Saugatuck took that on, and it's going to be a fun event. So join us all.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Carrot Top.